I hope the developers see this story to hopefully get to the bottom of this. I know everyone will probably just scoff this off as another mere game creepypasta that never happened, but trust me, it happened, and it was so real, I had to just write this down. Granted, I've already done this. You see, I didn't buy the Sea of Thieves full price for the massive content it would hold. I didn't buy it for the extensive story. I bought it for the adventures I got to go on to then jot down for other pirate-themed stories or games I would want to make on my own in the future. But today, late at night, things took a dark turn, and I don't mean that just because it was happening at night in both the real world and the game world. Let me elaborate. I went through a rough time today trying to find an open galleon crew who not only have mics but weren't jerks ready to lock me in the brig. I soon found one, though I can't remember their usernames as I didn't get to play with them for long. Once we got through raiding one island for another skull to sell at an outpost, they soon left the game before we made it, forcing me to raise the anchor, lower the sails, and drive the ship all the way back to the main island alone. As it began going back and forth from the ship to the factions, delivering them the skulls as well as the other loot the crew also obtained before I joined, like rare tea crates, silver chalices, and other skulls, I saw far away that there was another ship. Now, this wasn't a closed crew in a private server, so I simply ignored it at first, as it could be another enemy player ship simply minding their own business. But as I climbed up the crow's nest to spy on them, should they want to grief me, I saw not only the ship seemed to be completely black in color, but the lantern on the back of the ship was flickering back and forth like a beacon or some form of long-range communication. Now, the only way to do that is if another player was turning the lantern on and off. I thought it was a mere joke, so I sent a reply by flickering my own lantern on and off. Then the black ship far away went dark for a moment, and the lantern in the back was turned on and stayed that way. Even when I spammed the X button on mine, I got no Morse code style response. Now, I was going to call it a day and turn off my console to go back to my computer, but since I still had time and had honestly nothing better to do, I decided to lift up the anchor of my ship and head straight for the black one. I mean, I've had times where I ran into friendly other players' groups, and even if they turned out to be jerks, remember, there's no penalty for death in Sea of Thieves, aside from waiting a bit in the Ferry of the Damned. It took a frustrating amount of time, though, as the wind was not in the right direction to provide the boost. In fact, the wind was actually going against the sails, as if trying to sway me not to go to the ship. Most of the time this happens, though, so I just put up with it. Now, I regret it. I realized I couldn't really see where I was going as the sails were in the way. I did spend some moments off the wheel to go to the nose of the ship to ensure I was going the right way, but it was getting tedious and I didn't want to run back and forth again, so once I got back to the upper deck to raise the third sail a bit to see, I went back to the wheel to realize I'm at the black ship's location, literally at the spot I even marked on the map of M20 on the northern side of the plunder outpost, but it wasn't there. Did the guy disconnect or something? And I thought, okay, looks like I came here for nothing. So I turned the ship around again to go back to the island when the waters nearby started to darken and the ship refused to move even though the anchor was up and the sails were down. From my experiences, this would mean that Kraken was going to come out of the waters and fight me. So I got my cannons loaded, and then the black ship somehow floated up underneath my own. My ship and its were combining into one, and I tried to get off, but my frame rate began to drop, and I began teleporting here and there. I soon made it to the middle of the ship and saw the flickering black lantern happen again, but I saw no one there doing it, so looks like I came across a unique glitch. I somehow had the weird instinct to endure through the lag to turn it off. Once I did, I couldn't remove my character or the screen. I soon heard an unfamiliar soundtrack. It was getting louder and louder, and then, with my hands off my controller, the camera turned around to hear an ear-splitting sound and a weird NPC that was as black as a ship in a frozen frame. But what creeped me out the most was the face of this dark entity. It had those pearly white eyes and teeth, and it just glared, showing no sense of anger, happiness, or anything, just endless staring. Luckily, I soon pressed the Xbox button at the front of my controller to turn off my console, and then turn off my headphones to stop hearing and seeing that. I decided to leave the game alone for several days, as I was both busy with real-life issues and this flickering lantern event scaring me a bit mentally. And it's just so strange how such a painful soundtrack combined with the face mixed in right enough to have it nailed into my head for a while. I figured sharing it with you all would help me overcome it, and I wonder, did anyone else deal with the same issue? If not, why me? Was this some glitch involving player characters as well as their ships, not properly detected from the server once they turn off their consoles? Was it a hacker trying to scare me? Was it a test of a new event, part of the upcoming cursed sails and forsaken shores happening in a rather empty server aside from me and my galleon? I don't know. All I do know is I'm going to sleep now, hopefully with less sweat and tears as I wake up tomorrow.